Hiya love! Welcome to Theatre Review number 9. Let's get going! So, today I'm going to be reviewing The Deep Blue Sea, written by Terence Rattigan. What a wonderful name! And it was performed at the Littleton Theatre at the National Theatre back in 2016. It's currently available on the National Theatre at home until the 16th of July. I was particularly interested in watching this production largely because Helen McCrory was starring in it. She is a wonderful actress. She's been in many a drama on the television, and one of those is Peaky Blinders, which I'm a huge fan of. I know that she's done a lot of theatre as well, and generally speaking, whenever I've seen her perform anything, I think she's got this immense presence. She owns whichever character she plays in such a unique and bold way, and I really appreciate that from an acting point of view. Alongside Helen McCrory, you had Tom Burke, who also played a lead. He played Freddie Page in the play, and he again quite a well-established actor in this industry, and he and her together were just wonderful. What a fantastic match. I really enjoy his quality as an actor. He's very interesting. He makes interesting choices, and again, from an acting standpoint, I love that. He was in Rosmer's Home last year in the West End, which I saw, and that was the first time that I'd ever seen Tom Burke perform, and I was a huge fan, and I am an even bigger fan now after seeing this play. So, to give you a little bit of context on the play itself, I'll read you the description from the National Theatre. A brutal sense of loss and longing burns. Terence Rattigan's devastating post-war masterpiece contains one of the greatest female roles in contemporary drama. Helen McCrory plays Hester Collier, and Tom Burke is Freddie Page. A flat in Ladbroke Grove, West London, 1952. When Hester Collier is found by her neighbours in the aftermath of a failed suicide, the story of her tempestuous affair with a former RAF pilot and the breakdown of her marriage to a High Court judge begins to emerge. With it comes a portrait of need, loneliness, and long repressed passion. Wow. I'm just kind of going to touch upon some of the themes within the play based off this description, because I feel like that is a really good place to start. Obviously, as I mentioned, Helen McCrory plays Hester Collier, and her character is, I feel like she has two separate sides to her. She has this sort of, I think she has an immense capacity for love as a person, but I think that stems from a place of loneliness. What she has found in Freddie Page is a partner who is essentially not right for her, who cannot love her in the way that she wants, and rather than admitting defeat, she continues down a dark and lonely path of being isolated in a relationship with him. And I think she plays it beautifully. You know, she has very sort of neurotic tendencies as a result of this relationship. So I greatly admire the depths of which McCrory was able to play the role, and she really let herself be vulnerable when she needed to be, which was majority of the play. So yeah, really fantastic. I liked as well the dynamic between her and the variety of neighbours that come in to check on her. That brought a great sense of humour out of that character and to the play itself. So that was lovely. That was really nice to see. I think with Tom Burke playing Freddie Page, he was able to... in the beginning, it was almost this sort of masculinity that he brought to it. This sort of demanding of attention. And I think in a way you kind of understood why Hester's character was so drawn to him, even though there wasn't a huge amount of love coming from him to her, if that makes sense. I like how honest his character is in realising that to each other they essentially will be the death of each other if they were to stay together. And that realisation of you know, my partner has just tried to kill herself, I'm now going to console myself in drink. Once he's sobered up, he then has this sort of moment of clarity where he needs to essentially step away from it. And he says that he truly loves her in a way that he has never loved anyone else. But to what depth he loves her, it's hard to say. The character is emotionally detached from people, does not like emotions, and I truly believe that Tom Burke played it incredibly well, because it's such a difficult role to take on, you know, such shifts in feeling. But yeah, really fabulous job. So that brings me nicely onto the sort of direction of the whole piece, because I loved the dynamic between those two lead roles. Carrie Cracknell did a wonderful job in directing the play. She understood Terence Rattigan's writing to a T, I think, and the nuances within that. I think there was a really nice balance between those moments of stillness and those moments of silence to those moments of, you know, panic, chaos, frustration, longing, whatever it was. And yeah, I thought she did a really great job with it. Another thing I really loved was the setup of the sort of apartment that they lived in, the staging of the production. I thought that the colour palette was wonderful. What they really managed to do was capture this essence of things being sort of dulled and almost numb in a way, and I think it reflected Helen McCrory's character's emotions very well. I really enjoyed the fact that the whole sort of floor plan of the stage was a flat in essence, and you could see into the sort of hallway and the bedroom, even though they technically weren't sort of open to the audience's eye. It was like sort of half viewable, half not, if that makes sense. So that was quite nice. I also liked the fact that you could see the stairwell in the building, and you could see the next flat up. So that was quite nice as well. That was used a couple of times, and with a really sort of nice lighting effect, sort of fading in and out, sort of giving you different focuses throughout the show. Generally, I think the whole cast and their understanding of the play, the understanding of Terence Rattigan's pace in his writing was fantastic. It's the first play of his I've actually seen performed, and having heard so much about him as a writer, it was nice to finally see his work come to life. I think he's got an incredible understanding of human nature, of the things that we do when we're broken and when we're healing as well. One of the best moments throughout the whole thing for me was right at the end. Helen McCrory as Hester tries to commit suicide again, and the doctor who lives on the floor above comes to check on her, having helped her in the previous day or two. And, you know, he sort of tells her off in a way for trying to do it again. But essentially, he helps her see that there will be life after the relationship with Freddie, which has ended. And she, not only does she make a friend with this man, but as he leaves, Freddie comes back in and says goodbye, and when he tries to kiss her and hold her, she is strong and she doesn't retaliate, she doesn't give it back. And although when he leaves she crumbles, that strength is what she has learned from the people that, you know, have helped her. And the final bit of the show, which is the bit that I truly loved, was her making eggs on toast for herself. And she's crying over it. She's crying over these eggs on toast, but it's what that signifies. It's the aftermath of a relationship and how you deal with it. And I know a lot of people will have been through similar things. You know, some people, probably like myself, are very strong-minded, and even though people are saying, you know, this is not good for you, you want to see things through until the end, until the very bitter end. And that was really captured in Hester's character. And so for her then, at the end of the play, to suddenly put that focus on herself, make herself some food, that was crucial. That, you know, seeing that journey end in that way in the play, in the duration of the play, was really special, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would as well. And it's made me interested to read more of Terence Rattigan's work, because I really enjoyed the sort of ferocious nature of it, how blunt the characters are in many instances, whether that's on a matter of fact level or whether that's on an emotional level. I think it really puts across what we as humans are like, what our thought patterns can be like. So yeah, I'm really interested to read more of his work. Those are my thoughts on the show. Do check it out if you can. But just before I go, there were a couple of other members of the cast that I wanted to just have a quick chat about, because it would be terrible of me to not mention someone that I truly enjoyed a performance from. So William Collier was played by Peter Sullivan, and he is actually married to Hester Collier, but they are sort of in the midst of filing for a divorce. And within the play we see him several times sort of coming to see Hester and discussing what happened between them within their marriage and after their marriage. And I think it's a crucial part of the play whenever they're on stage together, because they do have this mutual respect, and in a way they act like they are still in a relationship. They're still married, but in fact they're not. And I think when William hears about Hester's struggles with Freddie, I think that makes him almost fall in love with her again, because he wants to take her away from that. But this time it's coming from a more wholehearted and emotional place, whereas when they got married the first time, it was more because this was the idea of love and he saw that within her. So yeah, it was a very interesting dynamic to watch on stage, and I thought Peter Sullivan played it incredibly well. He was a very strong, still kind of character, and with him being a judge, I think that played into it as well. There was this sense of authority and almost power about him, and I liked that in comparison to Freddie, who was a lot more kind of a bit scatty in a way. You know, his you could tell that his mind was in many places, whereas with William's character, he was very certain of what he wanted. And finally, you had Nick Fletcher, who played Mr. Miller. Now, Mr. Miller was the doctor. I use that term loosely, as he was convicted for doing something bad, basically, when he was a doctor, and now he isn't a practicing doctor, but he still helps people who live in his building, and he is the one that befriends Hester at the end of the play, and he supports her throughout. I think he has an incredible understanding of being in a dark place, And I think that's why those two characters connect in such a way that they become friends, basically. And I think that's quite significant to Hester's character, because she doesn't really get a lot of compassion from many people within the play, but what she gets from him is compassion from a male figure that is not in a romantic way at all. It's in a very matter-of-fact way of, you need to look after yourself because you are worthy of living, and you need to see that there is life after this relationship, and that you are strong enough, and that you have courage for even making the decision to commit suicide, because, well, that is a choice, essentially, no matter how dark a place the character was in. Really strong stuff, and I really enjoyed the comedic timing of Nick Fletcher within that role. I thought he played it very, very well, very truthfully, you know, not too much, not too little. It was just spot on, really. Do check it out. As I said, it's available until July the 16th on the National Theatre at home, and yeah, it's just generally very, very enjoyable. It's a very, very good play, and a very strong cast of performers, and the design, as I said, was fantastic. So yeah, do check it out, and thank you so much for watching. I know there's been some hard-hitting stuff mentioned in this particular review, and I'm very aware of it. It's something that has resonated with me quite deeply, and so if it has with you as well, please feel free to shoot me a message. But thank you again so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at my next theatre review, which will be my 10th. Oh my goodness! So yeah, really excited about that. But yeah, in the meantime, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll speak to you guys soon.